Welcome to another episode about business agility and how to create impact in an ever-changing market. Today I'll be focusing on decision making and how to reach both good and fast decisions. Now traditionally, organizations have been very focused on making good decisions because, we didn't have to make decisions that often, so we could optimize the quality of them and then get good results out. But as the market pace of change is increasing, we need to make decisions much more frequently. And then it becomes a problem when it takes a long time to reach a decision. And that's when organizations started looking towards agile. Because now you need to respond faster to changes in the market. Well, one of the downsides of the first wave of agile has been that the quality of decision has gone down. Because we were so focused on making fast decisions that we didn't necessarily get good decisions at the same rate as before. So how do we get best of both worlds? Well, that's what I'll be focusing on today. And at the end, I'll provide you with guidance on how to focus your efforts so you start with the most important thing first. Well, first part of this is making good decisions. In a world that changes constantly, we cannot rely on the old mechanisms to make good decisions. So we need to have new ones in an autonomous setup. But what does it really require to make good decisions? Well, I've found three different elements. The first one is collaboration. We need to talk to each other on a constant basis and align our expectations and test ideas with each other. Because that way we get to a common understanding and we won't make things harder for each other. Just imagine one making a decision to make a website blue, another one making a decision to make it green. If we're going that way, it's going to end up being a mess. Traditionally, we would have a top-down decision saying green. But in Agile, we'd rather turn it around and get the teams to engage with each other to figure it out. They might have advice on saying the color should probably fit our brand. But if one team thinks it's a good idea to have it green, then reach out. Talk to the other teams. Figure it out together. That's the first part of it. Then secondly, we need to align with the rest of the organization. Because if everyone else thinks it's blue and we're making it green, it's probably not going to be a good idea. Now, don't go crazy on the color scheme change, because that might be the hardest one to actually affect. But the principle stays the same. We need to make the collective effort in order to reach common decisions on what impacts all of us. Secondly, we need to have understanding available. And it goes for everyone in the company for all decisions we're making. And the first ingredient everyone needs to focus on is the customer and understanding the customer. If we don't, we're probably going to make decisions that optimizes in the wrong way. So the customer won't like it. They might even get disappointed. So let's learn how to focus on the customer first and get to understand them. Then we also need to focus on our professional skills. It does really matter if we know how to do the job, if we know the domain we're making decisions on. So every time you need to make a decision, think about which competences you need to have available in order to make good decisions. And if you don't have them available inside your team, then you need to reach out to someone who knows more. Finally, we need to keep a holistic view. If we focus on what we're busy with right now, and that's our primary agenda, there's a good chance we're going to tweak it in a way that's not optimizing the total outcome. But if we take a step back and look at what we're doing from the outside, then we'll be able to focus on what it means for the customer and what it means for our company. And our job should be to satisfy both. First the customer, and then the company. So that's why we all need to keep a holistic view. Well, that was at least what I've found as being ingredients for making good decisions. But when we have that in place, then how do we make them faster? Well, this is where the decision distance index comes into play. And it's a KPI that measures the number of interactions it takes to reach a decision within a certain area. So for instance, how many interactions does it take for us to make a decision on how to do a co-creation session with a customer? That could be one example. But in your context, the first thing you have to do in order to calculate it will be to identify all the different types of decisions you're making, all the different types of decisions you should be making. And then create a long list down there. And then for each one of them, look at how often they occur and how many interactions it takes to reach a final decision. And if you want a collective number, it's a good idea to turn your frequency, like how often they occur, into a percentage. So out of the total, how many percent goes on each one of the decision types? Because that way you'll get a weighted average, which is your weighted decision distance index. But remember, good decisions has to stay in focus. Otherwise, we'll just start making fast and bad decisions. Okay, then how do you optimize? Because now we have a number and that's fine, but it can be very difficult to focus on the biggest problem first. Well, my recommendation would be to look at the data you've already gathered. And for each one of them, you can calculate the local decision distance index. So it's simply just the frequency times number of interactions. And personally, I would then start with the one with the highest score, because that's the one that affects our decision speed the most. That's the one that impacts our overall decision time the most. And then look into how can we make it faster? Is it because we need to make it very often? Well, that might be a really good thing, because some decisions need to be made very often. But then how can we get the number of interactions down? Is it because we have a high dependency on each other, so we need to collaborate with a lot of people in order to reach a decision? Is it because we don't have the right competences available or really understand what we're trying to achieve? Or is it because we're constantly confused about where we're going, what's good for our company, and so on? Well, if you take that approach and start with the highest number, you will be able to get the overall decision distance index down. Sometimes it will require you refine your backlog differently. Sometimes it will require that you reorganize yourself, get different competences inside the team. But the answer to that has to be based on your context. Well, that was how to make both good and fast decisions by first focusing on making good decisions and then optimizing them by using the decision distance index. If you have anything to add regarding making good and fast decisions, any other approach, any new ideas or any questions, then please drop it in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll ask you to like and share, because the more you do that, the more we can spread the word and the more we can all learn. And ultimately, the better workplaces we'll have. Well, that was it for now, and thank you all for watching. I hope to see you again next time.